Hey guys, it's Nicole and I'm back with part 2 of my walking classroom tour, and we ended up in this corner last time. Over here is where we keep our human anatomy, life-size human anatomy. I blogged about this starting in the beginning of this school semester, where we pretty much did a cutout of my 3-year-old, not a cutout, a trace out of my 3-year-old's body, and we have been adding the body parts to it as we cover it in classical conversations for science. This was very simple to do, and let me get a little bit closer so you can see. So pretty much as each week goes on, we add to our life-size little guy here. And I do a lot of three-dimensional things to it. We baked a thymus and a spleen out of salt dough, and I hot glued it to it. Some things are done in paper, like the lungs and the heart and the liver and the pancreas and the gallbladder, but some things are three-dimensional, like for the large intestine, I used a couple of pair of knee highs and stuffed it full of cotton balls. And for the small intestine, I did some yarn, orange yarn. And over here is our urinary tract. There were straws attached, so now I'm gonna have to go back and probably put some yarn here because the straws just would not hold. Just to give it that three-dimensional feel, I'll put some yarn here for the ureters. So the kidneys, ureters, bladder. And we did lymph nodes, mouth, veins. It's off. I'm still labeling it, but as we go along, we add. Here is the circulatory system, veins and arteries. And this week we're going to be doing the endocrine system, so I'll be adding testes. And we'll be adding some parts of the brain, like the hypothalamus, and other areas that are a part of the endocrine system to that. And last week we did the respiratory system, so we made these little respiratory system guys here. Call them the respiratory twins. That's what my 5-year-old called them. And because, I can only layer but so much on this guy right here, I've started to branch out and make other like mini figures that highlight certain parts. So here is the respiratory system, and they did that last week. It turned out really great. They had fun putting that together. I cut out the pieces. I drew the pieces and cut them out, and they assembled it looking at a diagram of the respiratory system. So over here is where we keep our backpacks. I just hung them on these little hooks here, these 3M hooks. But I think I actually got these from the Dollar Tree. I want to say I got these ones from the Dollar Tree, maybe not. I know Dollar Tree sells hooks, but I'm not sure if these are 3M or Dollar Tree hooks, but they're very sturdy and they're able to hold their backpacks even when they're full of stuff. So when we go on field trips, when we're going out to church all day, when we go to co-op, we do the backpacks. It's just easier for us, and especially for my 2-year-old who still wears pull-ups. It's just great to keep a few of those with some wipes in his backpack when we're on the go, as well as a snack and a sippy cup. Here we have what I call the fuzzy board. The fuzzy board is our way of doing it's a behavior chart that I made. I simply spray painted one of those Dollar Tree cookie sheets with some chalkboard spray paint, and then I just wrote on it with chalkboard marker. Very simple. You can design this to meet your family's needs. You can do chore charts on here, discipline charts, calendars. Really great. And what I did is using my handy dandy fuzzies with the magnets on the back of them, one represents each child, and if anybody drops below almost but not 100%, they don't get a reward at the end of the day. And here's our little fuzzy board pledge that we say in the morning right before we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Today I pledge to be kind, to use the nicest words I can find. Today I pledge to try to share, to wait my turn, and to be fair. That's not original to me. I found that on the internet. I cannot remember where I found that pledge, but that's not mine. But it pretty much sums up what we go through every day. People are not kind sometimes. These two little locker tray thingies are where I put his completed work. So during the week, when he finishes a worksheet for classical conversations or whatever worksheet for language arts, I just rip it out of the book and put it in here. And then over here is when I've actually completed, that's what the C is supposed to mean. Oops, well, all right. That when I'm done reviewing it, I put it in there. So once a week I go through that. So it's Friday, and obviously I need to go through it. And down here is in this little book sling situations where I keep our library books and books that you know, favorites that the little ones like to go through. So this keeps it, you know, easy at their reach. They're pretty gentle with books now, the 2 and 3 year olds. So now I can finally trust them to keep the library books in here. And we don't get many library books a week. We only get library books that are related to whatever we're currently talking about or that we have just finished talking about. And the ones in the bottom are more educational level books for my 3 and 2 year olds. Over here is our shelf. Okay, I know it looks like a table, but we don't really have room for a full-blown Montessori shelf setup. So this is an Ikea coffee table. I think it's a lac coffee table. And what's great about it is it has this shelf. And I hope to add another shelf to it too. But for now, this is where we keep our activity trays for the week for my 2 and 3 year old mostly. My kindergartner, I make up his trays and set them on his desk. I don't really put them on the shelf because we don't have enough room. But this is basically our setup. Again, Dollar Tree cookie sheets. And then I just place everything that's for the activity on top. On the floor underneath is where I keep certain things like puzzles, lacing cards, and alphabet cards, things that I usually do turn into a shelf activity. So I keep that down there, and then also my 5-year-old's Legos are down here too. So most of our hands-on learning manipulative activities that we're doing for the week, I keep out here. And I'm hoping to actually be crafty and install another shelf right about here somehow. So maybe get some L brackets and some wood. I'm gonna work it out because I need more shelf space, and there's more than enough height in this table that I can add another shelf, and that would be amazing. So both of my kids will have 7 activities a week in their own designated shelf. Okay, continuing on. Sorry about the blurriness. This is the door to our office, which we're currently working on. It is a mess in there. It's our, I guess you can call it, I call it a studio office because that's where we keep the piano, my 5-year-old's drums, and a desk for us to work at. So we're getting that put together. That's our mission by the end of the month, to have that really put together. So over here is clearly the chalkboard, and as you can see, they had fun this week just scribbling on it. This is where I keep our memory verses for the week, and just so we can refer to it during circle time. And I also do activities on the bottom half of it for learning activities, and also free play, whatever they want. And I keep the chalk hung up right there. Again, another 3M hook to the wall, won't damage the surface. So I just keep the chalk and an eraser in there. Over here is where we sit for circle time. I usually sit here and they pull up their chairs or they sit on the rug, and we have our circle time activities here, and here's our circle time board. I refer to the maps quite often because of before we just finished up doing our 50 states and capitals, so I would refer to our maps often for 50 states and capitals. And also I have the world maps on this side if we want to do a quick reference for our timeline, where the timeline event was taking place in the world, and also the calendar in the middle. dress for the weather. Yesterday was, today is, tomorrow will be, the season, the weather outside, things of that nature. They love updating this little guy. We call him Tommy. And I got that from Lakeshore Learning. It came with him, that which is supposed to be a window, which you change out the scene in the window, and obviously someone's been messing with it because it's tilted. And in here is where I keep focus, there we go, is where I keep all of the things that accompany the calendar. Our little days of the week. Here's my pointer so I can point it out to them, whatever, and things that just get changed out from the days of the week. And our calendar station here. So moving right along, up at the top I got the alphabet going on. Lakeshore Learning, again, I get most of my stuff from Lakeshore. Everything that you see up there except for these yesterday was, today is, that's Dollar Tree right there, but everything else is Lakeshore. Calendars, Lakeshore Learning. Alphabet, Lakeshore Learning. I even have the numbers across over here, slowly, sorry, Lakeshore Learning. So I'm a little Lakeshore Learning obsessed. Okay. Now over here is where we keep their toys. And I've blogged about this, how I created these chalkboard labels from Dollar Tree materials. I'll link that in the description box below. And this pretty much sums it all up. Toys and where we keep our most recent artwork. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm just going to do another 360 for you, if my camera would allow, of the room, starting from the stairs, working down and around.